Joining us live now is the RSL Australia Ambassador and Afghanistan veteran Peter Rudland, who will be in attendance at New South Wales' annual Remembrance Day service. That's going to be at the Cenotaph. Good morning to you. First of all, thank you for your service. How are you reflecting on a day like today?
Hey, Pete. Thanks for having me. How I'm reflecting? I sit there and I get together with my friends and other soldiers and make sure I reach out and touch as many people that I serve with as possible.
What comes to mind, Peter, on a day like today?
Mainly, I think of the past, our humble beginnings with, sending so many soldiers to war. World War I, we lost 60,000 soldiers, so that's a lot of families that were affected. There was 156,000 wounded. So, those families having to live with that and go through their rehabilitation is, a massive call for a lot of people to deal with. And then when you bring that through, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, a lot of families are affected, day to day. Myself, I was wounded in Afghanistan, and the people I loved had to spend a lot of time putting me through my rehabilitation. So every time someone gets hurt or someone gets killed in the job, it touches so many people, and there's so much to remember.
You just mentioned there that you were wounded in Afghanistan. That was back in 2010. Peter, just for our viewers, our audience, just explain what happened.
So I was part of this Special Operations Task Group, and in 2010, a helicopter that I was on en route to a target crashed. It killed 3 Australians and 1 American soldier. The remaining 10 or so of us were left with multiple injuries. I had injuries to most parts of my body.
How long did it take you to get over that, and not just physically but mentally?
Mate, I was very lucky. I had no dramas mentally at all. I've always been at peace. At the end of the day, I'm a soldier and I'm a professional soldier, and I loved what I did. Yes, I got hurt doing the job, but that's part and parcel of it. People die, people get wounded doing the job, and we need to pick ourselves up and focus and get on with things. So mentally had no issues at all. Physically, lots of injuries. I was very lucky. I was looked after by Defence and also the RSL. RSL Australia have been absolutely brilliant to me, and all of RSL across the country and Legacy. So there's plenty of people out there who have helped. It's just a slow process of, seeing where you're at, having the surgeries, applying yourself and getting on with it.
And given the fact that Afghanistan War finally ended after so long this year, Peter, and you were, of course, part of that, does it have special significance on this Remembrance Day this time around? Yeah,
I think for many soldiers, this year, it's a really big one, that we were at war for over 10 years, so it affects a lot of people and a lot of families, especially, the families of the fallen, with the circumstances, with the pull-out of Afghanistan. So a lot of people will be feeling that. And on that, I suppose it's a good point to throw in that, the RSL is there for anybody who needs any assistance today and in the future with the pull-out of Afghanistan.
And I have another question, and we don't need to get into the politics of all of this, but given the stoush that's taking place at the moment between France and Australia politically, on a day like today, we remember some 46,000 Australians who lost their lives on the Western Front in World War I. So we're always going to have that connection.
We are always going to have a connection with the French people. We left a lot of blood on the shores of France. With all the stuff that's going on, that's not our problem. Governments will deal with that. The people of France, people of Australia, let's focus on what's important, and that's about remembering, what took place there. Let's ensure that it never happens again. But focusing on soldiers. See, the big part of war is, soldiers die, and there's a price in that. But it's the families who have to pick up the pieces. Yeah. The wives, the daughters, the children, and so on. It's the biggest part of war, the impact that we have on them. So we must always stand together. Not just soldiers, families.
And just as my final question, Peter, but you must be very proud to be a part of Australia's rich history and our story, our military story.
Mate, I have loved being a soldier from the day that I signed the dotted line. Beforehand, I went through all of my schooling just wanting to be a soldier. I was lucky enough to go through my entire adult life and only ever having one job, and that was a soldier. I did a job that I loved beside people that I loved. I was very lucky, and I feel very proud to be a part of the Australian Defence Force. Our people do us proud every day.
It's really wonderful talking to you this morning, Peter Rudland. Appreciate your time. Once again, thank you for your service, and you'll be at the cenotaph this morning. And my thoughts with you. My thoughts with you and the community. Thanks for your service. Talk to you soon.
Thanks very much, Pete.